Hello everybody and welcome to Play Great Games. I play 4 new games in the Game Pass every month and eliminate one each week until we have the winner, my personally recommended Game of the Month. Keep in mind these are only my opinions. Today is the second week of November and the first elimination week of the month. Last week I introduced the 4 games Ikenfell, Sort of Ditto, Mormos Curse, Heave Ho, and Age of Empires 3. These are some wildly different games and I can't wait to get started. First up is Ikenfell. Ikenfell is a turn-based RPG. The game takes place in a world of magic. In this game you play as Merit. From what I know, Merit has no magical powers, but her sister does. I guess this is how she gets into magic school later. Monsters appear when a girl goes missing. You and a team of friends, because you're never alone in magic school, hunt down and stop these monsters, and hopefully find and rescue the missing girl. So the game starts out with Merit in the woods. Just in the woods. Alone. It's very suspicious. So she's been out traveling to the magic school where her sister is, but on the way it gets dark out and she has to set up camp in the middle of the woods. But somehow, something goes wrong. No kidding. So there are these random demons that come out of nowhere and try to get you to leave. I guess these guys were introduced to the game just to be whatever characters to train on. Or maybe I just realized these are some of the monsters that have captured the girl. I don't know. As I said last video, I love the sound effect for when the demons scream. And that's Ikenfell for this week. Second in the list is Sort of Ditto, Mormos Curse. Sort of Ditto, in my mind, is a game very similar to Moonlighter. Just a layout of the town, the colors, and the style of buildings. And also in my mind, the art style of this game reminds me of Steven Universe. The costumes, the character design itself. When you start off the game, your character is resting on a beach, and this cicada thing wakes you up and tells you that you need to pull out this sword from a rock and save the town from this witch. So you walk over this rock and pull the sword out. Then the cicada thing tells you to kill the witch that can't be allowed to live. So you end up walking not far from the town, like right next to the village, and entering the witch's house. And just to be honest, she should fire every single guard she has. These guys didn't do anything. Half of them were these things that actually did nothing but fly around like idiots. The only thing they achieved was being somewhat hard to hit. But in the end, you get defeated before you're even able to fight. She just straight up impales you as part of the wall. I believe your character puts it perfectly. It was unfair, but nevertheless, you respawn 1,000 years later. No joke. 1,000 years later, you respawn and begin your mission to hunt down and finish off the evil witch, Mormo. Next on our list is Heave Ho. Heave Ho is a very fun and silly game. It's the perfect game to have a friend over and play with. It's also amazing single player, which is the game mode I played in. So basically in this game, you play as Art from Monsters Inc. Holding on to the floating walls and platforms with all your might to survive, you must climb/swing over to the end of the map. Once you finish, you move on to the next level. All the while, you're being timed. I like llamas. They're cool, you know? You're probably thinking I just went crazy or there was a mistake in the script. Sometimes in the game, there will be a giant llama that, you know, on the screen. And it's not like a little, it's a big enough to cover the whole screen for like a minute straight. Just yellowish brown swirls. You can't see anything. I hate it. He's just the worst. Last in our list is Age of Empires 3. Age of Empires 3 is pretty much like the rest of the Age of Empires out there, but with some seriously improved graphics. I have nothing against the older graphics because those are what I played first, but Age of Empires 3 brings a whole new style to the board. Fire acts in a completely different way. Water now reacts to things falling in it, like a piece of falling boat. Ships now fall apart in more realistic ways, and they also added some different game modes as well as a new nation. You can still play in multiplayer mode with people across the world or bots, as well as single player mode against bots or people, just like the older games that came before it. I personally like the game and I'm pretty good at it. Alright, it's elimination time. Comment down below which game you think will be eliminated. The game that'll be eliminated is Ikenfell. Ikenfell is a creative and fun game. Why would I eliminate it? Here are the reasons. Ikenfell is, compared to all the games except Age of Empires, a pretty slow game. The art is very retro, which is something I have nothing against. But once again, compared to the other games in this list, it's pretty much old and outdated. There aren't many colors, and when there are, they're very flat. Compare this with Sword of Ditto Mormos Curse, where the colors are very vibrant. It just seems bland in my mind. It had the story, but lacked pretty much everything else. As for Sword of Ditto Mormos Curse, it had the story, the graphics, the color, and the unknown aspect to it that helped it through this week. As for Heave Ho, it had the colors, the fun, the interesting concept, but it lacked the story. As for Age of Empires 3, it definitely has the graphics, the colors, and the story, but it lacks the interesting feeling to it that keeps me coming back, like the other games in this list. And that's why the other games weren't eliminated. Alright, that's all for today's episode. Make sure to come back next week because it's going to be the second and last elimination week of the month, just before the grand finale. I'll be back next Sunday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and remember, life is short. Play great games.